Oh, it has a countdown for us.
Yeah,
All right,
bro.
here we go. Hello and welcome to the Set Apart Meta, where we discuss the monthly meta of Stoa and its competitors. I'm Aiden Staples May,
And my name is Shane Charlemagne Felis.
and we are joined by our first ever guest, Logan Whitcher.
He does not need an introduction.
He is number one Lincoln Douglas Value Debate speaker in the nation, as well as first in a variety of other speech events here in the state of California, namely Extemporaneous, um, Lincoln Valley Debate, and one other, which I'm forgetting.
Something you forgot. But the point is, he's here on the show today, and we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff and just have a good time.
Yes, and we also have a new setup. We're using smaller chairs now because the other chairs were big and in the way, and it was frustrating. Also, we're like I think in a square now is what you guys are going to see on the YouTube. So we're trying to stay as close together as possible.
Yeah, I might be cut out a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll just jump right into it. Logan, how you doing? How you been?
Good, man. Enjoying the off season of break because there's no in-person tournaments coming up, so it's kind of just
True.
the lay low life right now, to be honest.
Right.
Good time to relax,
Full
make
Yeah.
some briefs.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
when
for
is
real.
the next tournament? I haven't been checking that schedule. I'm gonna check the calendar.
The
right
next tournament died.
Well, like the next in-person tournament that would be close to California that people would actually go to would be Desert Gem, but a lot of people are going to do the January one, which is like the online tournament. I
now.
think it's
Right.
like the Stoa Green Challenge or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was brought up in the Stoa bite that just came out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Right now, Desert Gem, it says on the calendar, is on hold, which is
Yeah.
it's just a new terminology that I've never heard of. But I think it's like not yet postponed, but
hmm
probably going to be.
right.
But hopefully not. There's always a chance that it won't be.
Right. And
But
we haven't been to club for a while. Obviously, we're in Set Apart, so we don't like Linda Stefani hasn't told us anything. So we'll have to look into it, and it would suck. But what we do know is that the building that we'll be using is kind of on and off with the COVID-19 stuff. Because obviously
Yeah.
they're a church,
very
and
sketchy.
their body I guess has been meeting every now and then.
I mean, not the church is sketchy, but like as in people who go there recently get COVID and then they don't
Yeah,
care
yeah.
about the restrictions. So
Yeah, it's about reliability, I guess, is the thing. So
Yeah.
I guess that's what it means by on hold. Yeah, I would agree with you. It is definitely off season right now. We're recording this on January 1st,
second.
the second. Second?
Yeah, it's the second today.
It's a second. Yeah.
He's the Aiden. Where have you been?
What was
Bruh.
yesterday? Oh, I
New
slept
Year's,
in.
man. Like, what are you talking about?
4. I remember. I slept in until 4 in the afternoon, and I woke up and I was up until I think
Okay.
4 a.m. and then I went to sleep and now I'm here. So there really was no January 1st. It was it was kind of a not a day,
I had a good day. I was so happy it's no longer 2020.
right?
2020 can go die in a hole.
Thanks,
real.
man. Although,
Yeah.
like, I keep telling people, like, I think 2021 is going to be a little bit better, but like, it's not going to be all that great. Like, it's not like it turns
Bro,
2020 and
it,
COVID just evaporates, bro. It's not how
bro,
it works.
instantly the money's just gonna start pouring in. We're gonna get
Nah,
unexplained
fam.
checks in the mail. Like the
No,
grass in our front lawn is gonna actually start growing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the optimist versus the pessimist.
no, it's not pessimism, bro. It's a realist, bro.
Realism.
Exactly.
Realism.
It's acknowledging reality, man. Like,
Realist. Such a shame. Okay, so January Stoa Bite came out yesterday. All in all, good stuff. There was a pretty long intro saying Happy New Year and etc. Very nice. Update on virtual tournaments, I think, is what most people are concerned about because, as you were saying, Logan, there's not a lot of, especially here on West Coast, there's not a lot of stuff we can go to. I mean, like,
yep.
there's one in Arizona, right? What's that one called?
Uh, Camelback Classic. But
No.
not everyone can go
Okay, well,
to Arizona. Not everyone has the
hmm
money or the time. So
or the
virtuals.
patience.
Virtuals, while aren't the ideal situation, I've kind of changed my position. I think they could be good for people who would want the competition because there's literally nothing else. So it's like
Yeah.
it's fine, but it's still just
Right.
rough. Just the format is rough. But
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
really quick, I'll run by the dates and then we'll go into discussing it. So January 27th through the 30th. So at the end of this month will be the Stoa Green Challenge. February, end of the month, is the Gold Challenge. And then we now have dates for March and April, which we did not have last month. So mid March, March 17th through the 20th, will be the Purple Challenge. And April 21st through the 24th will be the Silver Challenge. All officially licensed Stoa sanctioned events. And I think all of these are debate. I think all forms of debate, as well as a couple of different speech events.
So I have a quick question for our guest on the show today.
Okay.
So which title do you like best out of all of those titles? I think I might know the answer based on
What do you mean?
like which title, which color did you like best out of all those tournaments? You like green, you like silver,
Oh.
gold,
Oh, the purple, bro. Because
purple.
purple's my favorite color. Like, of course, man. Like,
If
hello.
you go to any virtual now, that would
Yeah,
be
that's the one it
you
has to
got-
be. I will say, like, I respect Stoa for putting on these tournaments, but man, like, really, we couldn't have done better than colors. Like there are a billion different things we could have named these things, and we just
Okay.
went with colors.
Let's brainstorm for a second. So what would be like, what would be a good type of title besides
Okay,
color?
okay.
Greek letters.
Greek letters?
That's kind of.
That's like
absurd.
our club names. Like you hear all these Latin and Greek names.
Yeah,
like
ex nihilo, bro.
Ex nihilo and like in via and like what else?
Yeah.
Apollo, whatnot.
I don't know.
How about food? How about like the hamburger challenge or the shrimp Alfredo pasta?
Bro, like that's still stupid, but it's still better than colors.
It's better than colors. It's more interesting.
Yeah, bro. I don't know.
You are notorious for your purple drip. I like green.
Purple drip.
Green
Yes,
makes
sir.
me feel good inside. It makes me feel like recycling.
But I thought recycling was bad.
Yeah, Micah Diaz, bro. You gotta listen.
All right, Micah Diaz.
Shout out to Micah Diaz, the man,
Micah Diaz did a long, informative speech.
the reigning tournament
on why-
champion.
Actually, for
It was
those of you who want
persuasive.
information, PragerU actually just did a video called "The Religion of Green." It's like a 20-minute short.
Aren't you Jewish?
Go watch that. It's great.
Especially-
it goes to what Mikey Diaz was saying. Basically, recycling costs too much. We send trash to poor countries, and they burn the trash, and it's bad for their air.
Especially if you're kosher.
Yeah.
Go watch PragerU.
But it still makes me feel good inside.
So Aiden, are you gonna do the virtual green?
Probably not. I'll skip out on green. I'll probably do maybe the one in April, maybe the one in March.
I mean, bro, you're gonna wait that long?
Well, we're doing the one in Arizona, and then
Oh.
hopefully the one in
Makes sense.
hopefully Desert Gem. Right, those are the two that we're all banking on. And then
There's also Texas Escalade, which is gonna happen because Texas is having a tournament in January that's scheduled to be in person, and Escalade is I think in March. So
okay,
Interesting.
Yeah.
that's crazy. I was just at Dallas Airport. Dallas is not the city. This ain't it. Every other city is Texas, I've heard, but that one is just not it.
really.
They're a little bit different than all their other cities. Politically, I'll say that much.
So I have another question. Logan, what is
Yeah.
your favorite speech event?
Favorite all time? Probably Extemp because I love limited prep and Extemp is the only limited prep. Apologetics is not a limited preparation speech. It's like write 80 speeches prior to going in the room and then pick one of your 80 speeches. That's not really like limited preparation. And the same is true with Marcel with all the briefs. So I think Extemp is the only speech event that actually like makes you think on the fly,
True.
like with no preparation whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
Although you could do real limited prep in APOL if you did like boxless, cardless.
that's true, which I'm trying to start doing because I like it more. But
Do it, bro. I did it Night Talk 2019.
nice.
You could.
Or 20, was it 2019 or 18? I don't know.
I think the argument is that then you're at a disadvantage.
I was.
I know 2 or 3 people who have in fact written every single card. They wrote one card every day up until the first tournament, and they had everything ready to go for the rest of the year. It's like, it's not limited prep. You have all the prep time. in the
It's
world.
just hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's work, but if you want to be good at the events, like, I mean, the people I'm talking about are like top 10 on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So they're doing their homework ahead of time. and they're getting good stuff. But I would side with you in that Extemporaneous is definitely the only true limited prep. We don't talk about Marcel. Uh,
Bro, Mars Hill's not bad. It's not bad. I love
Right,
it.
Mars. I'm gonna try it out, so we'll see.
Mars Hill's so
I've never
fun.
done it.
Dude.
That's
Get to
not.
talk about pop culture and
It's really not.
all sorts of
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Wait, Aiden, have you done it?
Marcel?
Did you wait? You did it, right?
Yes. So
But you didn't compete, did you?
I did.
Oh, you
so,
did compete.
So last year I did Mars Hill because my coaches thought it would be a good idea for me to try it, and so I tried it, and so I did about 3 or 4 Mars Hill tournaments where I did that as a speech event alongside apologetics. Those were the only 2 that I really did outside of Lincoln Douglas as my novice year last year, and I kid you not, every tournament I got Moana.
Moana?
Every single time I got Moana. Every time. And the reason it's so funny is because when my coaches first asked me if I wanted to try a Mars Hill speech at club to see if I enjoyed it, I did one on Moana. That was my trial speech.
So that's why it turned you off, or
Bro,
Yeah,
that's great because then you give the same speech and it gets better and better each time.
yeah,
Like,
but
it's
I
perfect.
don't learn anything.
It's like drawing the same 8-ball question like 3
Okay.
tournaments in a row. We love when that happens, bro. It's beautiful.
I think Mars Hill is a bit silly, and I think apologetics formatting is
you're
silly.
totally right. That's why Mars Hill's amazing, and that's why I love it, because it's silly, because you can just joke around the entire time.
No, I mean like silly as in like why the heck did they write this?
Because you can talk about all sorts of jokes. For example, bicycle thieves, which I don't know if it's still in Mars Hill or not.
It is.
Bicycle thieves, I always would tell the joke that Martin Stefani told me, which was the guy couldn't catch the bike. So basically, a guy's bike was stolen, and he couldn't catch the thief because he was too tired. Too tired.
Oh.
That's a good one. Yeah.
The judges were laughing so hard.
Oh
They
my
were
word.
circling first place as I was giving that joke. It was just amazing, bro.
Bro.
Dad jokes on Stoa, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, for real. Those work well in extemp, to be honest, because it's so boring.
Right, I'm not a fan.
Well, you can make extemp funny.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, let's take a moment to look back on the beautiful year of 2020. Our night talk was canceled. Lots of in-person tournaments were canceled on us. Different venues were being sticklers for rules.
Kobe.
Yes, Kobe Bryant
Kobe.
died. Although I do not believe Kobe Bryant was invested in Stoa. Logan, what was the worst part of Stoa for 2020?
No, it was the best part. The best thing.
The best part?
We'll do both.
Positivity.
Do both.
The Point Loma Classic 2020, bro. Great tournament. Legendary tournament, baby.
You've never seen the numbers 4 and 3 the same ever again.
No, but like in all seriousness, I love that tournament, dude. Like it was big, it was fun. It felt like that was kind of like the last normal tournament we had. Because even like going forward from there, people were like a little starting to stress out a little bit.
Yeah, Concordia was stressful for people.
Yeah. Concordia was stressed out like a lot of places. So I feel like Point Loma was like the last normal Stoa tournament we'll have for a long time. Like we probably won't have another tournament that normal like in my time. Like even in like my next year for my senior year, not gonna happen.
Yeah,
so
especially not in California.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like that was probably the best part of 2020. I mean, worst part, obviously, Night Talk getting canceled. Like that's easy. Like definitely that. But yeah.
Well, it got canceled, and then it got moved. This next one has been moved from California to Tennessee, as far as we've heard.
Yep.
Which is not bad, in my opinion. I like it.
Yeah, to be honest, I was kind of excited to hear that. But
I like Union.
that's just me.
Yeah, my sister and I are going to try to go to Union University next fall. This fall, well, yeah, this fall. So it's gonna be fun.
The only interesting thing in Tennessee is like country music, and outside of that, I'm like, why are we flying to Tennessee?
Because it's not California.
Exactly, dude. Like, I'm sorry, the state, I've lived here all of my life, okay? And most people stay loyal to California. I'm sorry, the state blows, bro. It does.
Look,
garbage.
it's not good.
It's not a good state, bro.
Everything about it is great, other than its politics. Like,
No, bro.
No,
The
not even.
people are cold. The weather stinks. We don't get seasons, bro.
the
The
weather
The
stinks.
weather's
the
not that good, bro. The
We
bro,
have
weather's not
it's
that
hot
good.
all
California has
year
more
round, bro. What
volume.
is that? I want some
California
snow.
ocean, like the
Hello.
Where's
smog.
the snow, bro? Where's
California
the
has more
snow?
biomes than any other state in California.
I'm
It is
just saying,
rich
where's the snow, bro?
culturally with many different
Rich.
ethnicities. We got Chinatown, we got Mexico Town, which is
Bro, what
literally
is this
all over California.
multiculturalism argument, bro? Like, get this out of here, bro. That
Oh,
belongs in last
Yeah, I'm
year.
having flashbacks. That was a
Last
bad
year,
year.
bro.
Aiden, you're still
How,
in
how did
2020.
how did you feel about that res? Like looking back on it.
Like last year, I thought it
Yeah.
was like okay, everyone hated this res, and Shane and I talked about this because he hated the res and I liked the res. And the reason I like the res is because there's actual conflict. Like those two things, like you have to choose one or the other, and it's like a real world issue that people are dealing with. Like so, it was a hot topic. Judges knew about it. Wasn't hard to explain, and it had a ton of conflict. Good ingredients for a good resolution. This year's res doesn't have any of them. There's no conflict. It's not a hot topic. It's incredibly difficult to explain. It's
Uh,
just
I disagree, bro. I
So
disagree.
now I'm curious, and I'm going to ask you
Here's-
questions. You think that multiculturalism and assimilation is easier for the judge to understand than basic economics?
not basic economics because kids aren't talking about like even like when you ask someone who knows economics, if you ask them the difference between stability or growth, they'll be like, "What? Huh? What do you mean?" Like
Right.
even someone who's studied economics, so it's very difficult to explain because you kind of have to like you have to create the conflict in your RAs, and this is what I was talking to someone about. Like there is no actual conflict in the resolution; you have to make it like in your case, which stinks.
See,
Right.
See, this is an age-old debate in LD, and I've been in Stoa since like 2015. And I remember the time when Davis Cooley, that whole year, with private property rights and public needs, and he was actually contesting that you need conflict in LD. And I remember watching him versus Noah Matthews at ICC in prelims, I think. And Noah Matthews was like, "Okay, what's the conflict in your application?" And then Davis was like, it never says the word conflict in the resolution. And he was like, you're just showing why one ought to be valued over the other. And so in the sense that like this year, the basis for the determination of the round should be importance, and I think it can be conflict, but it doesn't necessitate that like one is devalued over the other. Like one is valued to the detriment, meaning you can have both, low fluctuations and still be growing. And so you can just ask, okay, we have both in this country. Which one is more important? And you can kind of, it's definitely debatable. That's the thing is like, if you're AF, I would say you want conflict, obviously, because you want the growth on the neg side to be sort of unstable, I would think. But you can frame it in a way that you can work around that. So, like for last year, you're right, Logan. There was more. Obviously, there was more bias, which is why I didn't like it. But there was more conflict than this year, which makes it easier for applications and for
And
framing.
it just makes for a better debate. It's
Yeah.
just like because I feel like these rounds are just kind of like, and I was talking to people about this. It's like people are just giving pre-memorized speeches. Like I don't see like the clash or like the really strong cross X's this year because
Right.
it's almost impossible to have. I don't know.
Right. That's a good point.
Fun fact: I've never watched an in-person LD round yet, so
Oh,
I don't even know.
No tournaments locally, baby. I will say last year, being a novice, like obviously I was okay. I was a junior in high school, but learning Stoa formula last year was really hard. Like the value debate was really tough. Definitions were really tough. Evidence was really tough, and like just getting used to things. Like whoa, I got punched so many times that this year it's like okay, now I gotta
Yeah.
now it's easier. Now I can breathe easier because everybody understands these things and they're not debatable. At least
Yeah.
that's my opinion on. Well,
that's what I do like about this Rose. There's no stupid definition debates, and there was like every
sure,
time
yeah,
last year. So
which is my biggest issue. Multiculturalism was defined weirdly, and
I
like
know people would stand up
like
talking about their grandmother baking pie. Man, I'm just like, oh, sit down. No one cares.
right.
Ugh.
Stimulation, like how do you enforce stimulation? How does that happen? Does it happen naturally or is it forced?
Yeah.
It's Like,
Bro, I wish you guys were here for the preemptive warfare year because that was
I
such
wasn't
a good
around,
year.
dude.
That was such
Yeah.
a good year, bro. Because all it was just preemptive warfare and like just war theory, and it went deep, and it wasn't like this year's where
Yeah. It had
there's
to
no
do with like philosophical and moral issues. And like the
exactly.
truth seeking for privacy was the exact same thing. And like what was another really good one? There was another like really good one. Oh wait, no, it was a resolution that didn't get chosen, but it was like the technological augmentation
Oh
with
yeah.
in the lack of medical necessity is morally justified. That would have been a great resolution. But yeah, I don't know. To be honest, here's the big problem. I've talked to most LDers that are competing this year, and they say that they put the economics res last. And I talked to most TPers, and they say they put it first because Stoa has it set up that when you like create or sign up for Stoa for the year, you vote for both reses. And what
Yeah.
they should do is if you're planning to compete in both, you get to vote for both. But just
Right.
be honest, and if you're only
Right.
going to compete in LD, only vote for the LD resolution because then like a ton of people
No,
are making you debate things and they're not even
now,
competing
see,
in the
the
event.
truth is, the T peers, they
Oh man,
actually hate us, the LT.
bruh.
And the
That's
elders
true.
secretly hate the T peers, which is why we vote for just the random T peer residents.
I can say as a LDer, I don't hate the team policy people, but I do think for a fact they hate me. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I have like one or two good friends that are team policy debaters, and that was it.
No, I've done both. I think it's just preference. It's just preference of
Yeah,
the style.
yeah, I would rather sit down in a chair and talk about policies that are never going to get enforced for an hour and a half straight. That sounds like a fun way to
Bro,
learn.
no, they do. They do sometimes. I've heard of cases
I
that
think
they get passed and then they have to switch because it's inherent.
Right.
I think
So
now might be a bad time for me to make an announcement.
Oh.
gonna do TP, bro.
We're gonna switch next year probably. Yeah, I
All right,
know.
all right,
I
all right,
know.
LD. Breathe easy, LD. He's
No,
gone.
bro, I'm considering. I'll see. It depends on the resolutions, to be honest. If there's a really good LD res, I'll probably stick with LD. But if the LD res is as garbage as it is this year, then I'm switching over.
I don't know,
Because
dude.
because here's the thing: there's more case diversity in TP. TP
Yeah.
doesn't have the same round over and over and over again, and that's what I'm having with LD. I'm given the same responses. Like even my rebuttals are just like the same thing, and it just gets kind
Yeah.
of boring. I don't know.
I totally get that. I get that.
I think that's valid,
And
especially because there's more time to like flesh out your argumentation,
the
right?
fun thing about TP2 is you can basically like you can build your case up so well that you like the responses you could respond better to your case than your opponent could. Like if you that's
Right.
the fun thing that appeals to me about TP is crafting a case that has so much evidence behind it. And I think you'd be good at that, Logan, because you obviously bring a ton of evidence into
Right.
LD. So I don't think that's a bad decision. Maybe if you're
Yeah.
considering.
We'll
Right.
see, bro.
Oh,
Because like what got
fun.
me interested is because whenever in like Andrew Wagner and I got like policy reses at Code Name, we like loved them, and like I loved those rounds because I don't know policy reses are fun. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Does this mean that you'll be dropping Parley?
Oh no, heck no, I'll stick with
Oh,
LD.
okay.
Yeah, you do both, bro. You do both.
Right.
But like I don't know, I'm on the fence about it. It really depends on the resolutions. To be honest, I don't know.
All right.
So
It's good to
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to try out. I mean, personally, I don't have like a teammate to like do it with, so it's not something I put a lot of thought into. But just the idea of just being at Stoa tournaments and recognizing that these guys have to sit in there for an hour and a half, or for like both LD rounds and not get a break.
It's not that bad.
It seems rough to me. I don't know.
Well,
Obviously, I haven't been in.
you're sitting there. You get way more prep time. You relax. I mean, obviously, if you're winning.
Right.
If you're not, then you're stressed out.
And keeping the judges interested has to be another issue too, right? Because you have to make sure that they're focused. Like outside of everybody else in the room, if they're not focused, then
Yeah.
you're not going to win. So that's another issue. Where in LD, it's a lot more rapid fire, but the judge has to balance four different people talking to them at once. Not at once, but over the course of a longer period of time. So theoretically, it works out worse than LD, but obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of people enjoy it. So
Now the real question is, Aiden, are you ever gonna do Parley?
likely
Ooh.
not.
Bro, just do Parley at one online tournament, just one tournament. Just try it. Just try it.
My issue with Parley and basically every other speech event is consistency. I like being able to go into a round and know what the resolution is before I go to the tournament.
It's way better when you don't know, bro. Trust me.
Also,
Way better.
I like it when my teammate is. I don't. I shouldn't have said that. I don't like needing a teammate. Like I don't know how to word this.
So you want to be
nicely.
responsible for your own argument.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of.
You want to
Like,
take the L and you want to take it.
if parliamentary was 1v1, I'd try it. Especially seeing as, and even with a team-based debate, it's still pretty short. It's pretty fast, and a lot of the times it's entertaining. But I'm not that good at stand-up, so it would be a lot harder for me to compete against like funnier people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
I can be relatable. I just can't be funny.
And I feel like that's the thing. Like, I was talking to someone about this. I think I was talking to Ethan Blount about this at Codename. Like, almost every argument in Parley is absolutely horrible. Like, there are really no good arguments. It really is heavily dependent on speaks and persuasiveness.
Right.
Like, if you're persuasive and funny, you win the round. So.
Yeah. Right. Entertainment. So, I mean, it ends up being a fun experience for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm very invested in this year's res.
I mean, yeah, Aiden, if you don't want to be creative, you don't want to exercise.
Bro, if Desert Gem has Parley, Shane and Aiden roll up, do Parley together.
I would be down. Although Desert Gem doesn't have Parley, but I'd be down.
Oh, that's so
sad. Aiden, if you ever want to do it online Parley, I'll be down.
I don't know, dude. Yeah, there will be no super senioring from me. I'll say that much. We'll take this podcast where.
Well, this year, just do one in like or not October, April or March or something. We'll see.
Point. Yeah, and we're not sure how many of these virtual tournaments we'll have Parley, so hopefully.
I think all of them.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Was there anything else in that Stoa bite that we meant to cover outside of the virtual? Oh, and so the virtual tournament stuff in the Stoa bite was just like, I think they changed the rules because judges weren't like doing their jobs, which is another thing that's kind of rough for virtual tournaments. Not only do you have to debate, but your parents have to watch debates and judge debates. So it's not as easy as like just going on and doing it by yourself, right? You have to have somebody, not a parent, but somebody to judge over you, which generally becomes an issue.
I mean, no different than an in-person tournament, though. So.
Right. My issue was I wanted to.
That's non-unique, bro.
I wanted to do a speech. I was just talking to Shane about this. I wanted to do a speech tournament virtually because my club requires me to do one more, and I wanted to just get it out of the way and do a virtual instead of going to a real person one because I didn't want to waste time. You know what I'm saying? But and the issue is like I have a younger sister who also does speech, and so my parents were saying it would be a better idea if we just went to in person. So that we judged for both of you guys at the same time, rather than having your little sister do a virtual, which is obviously a much lesser experience for a novice, like a brand new novice. She's 12. This is her first year in Stoa.
Good point.
So I'm like, oh yeah, that's fair. But outside of that, I think they're basically the same. You guys are right that it's pretty non-unique. So judging is just something that you have to like. Obviously, I wish bots could judge or something. Maybe in the future.
Oh my gosh.
Bot judges. Man. That'd be great. Following argumentation and like using web sources to back up everything.
100% objective.
Yes, that'd be great.
I don't think I'd like that, to be honest, man.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
It's just optional. It's beta. It'll work out the kinks later.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Judging subjective speech and debate with objective bots.
Facts. Wow. Right, I'm gonna go turn on the fan real fast. You cover for me for a second.
All right. So let's think of something to kickstart a conversation. So Logan, what is your favorite type of argument? So it's not just limited to like agree, mitigate, turn, deny, but you could also talk about whether you like framework-based arguments as like your voting issues, or what's like your go-to.
My go-to this year, like the argument I found myself making every round. Okay, so the two voters I've given every Lincoln Douglas value round like ever so far this year are value debate and two worlds. Those are really usually all I have time for. I don't like running a ton of voting issues because I typically focus on the flow more, so I don't really have time. Yeah, but probably those two. As far as like refutation, turn is always the best response because it's like take their impact, make it yours.
Yeah.
And then probably this year, I do really like the framework because I think it's really important. Because like especially on AF, I kind of have to like clarify what the conflict is. Like you like insert that and make the conflict into the round, and it's important for some of the arguments I make too. So I think, and I was talking to Dylan Jacobs about this back at NIHD, not the tournament, but like the camp in the beginning of the year, and he said that this year the framework is more important than anything, and that the value is probably the least important. And I kind of agree with that because
Yeah.
like the value is going to be the same every round pretty much.
Yeah.
Like so
I
it's
would,
not super
We all
super
want
important
top.
in the sense of like thinking through a really creative value.
Yeah.
right.
So
I
yeah.
would side with that for sure.
Which, if I do come back, that's gonna be rough because that's the one thing that I relied on was value divisions. That's the one thing that I was good at.
True.
That's the one thing.
Well, like you can still like outweigh the other person's value. Like you still need to bring it up. I'm just saying like
Right.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have
But
like
there's no value debate.
yeah, like when you take like the hegemony case, okay? Like I'm sorry. Like I love Thomas, man. He's a homie, but like dude, the hegemony case, it's just
He's a hegemony homie.
right.
I still don't remember what that word means.
Hegemony.
It's like it's basically like the value of power, and it's super interesting and unique. But at the same time, I don't think you should like. I get that you don't want to like if you're a person who's like, oh, I don't want to run quality of life. Everyone else runs it, but at the same time, like True Seeking Year, everyone ran justice, and guess what
Yeah.
was run in the final round at Night Talk? Justice.
Yeah.
So if you like have to sacrifice being like having a good value just to be unique, I don't think that's a sacrifice worth making.
That is true. But props to Scarlett because Scarlett year after year comes up with unique, successful, efficient cases that
That's
on
true.
a good, consistent basis do well. I
Mhm.
I really admire that they have a lot of interesting values and interesting frameworks that they go back way back to like
Yeah.
preemptive warfare. I remember Nathan Estrick had really interesting philosophical concepts in his cases. So Scarlett's a great
Yeah,
club.
yeah. And like to be fair, like the people who have run that case are doing really well this
Yeah,
year.
it
And I
works.
think part of the reason for that is it does like throw people off guard. Like they hear that and they have no idea how to respond to it because it wasn't even on the radar. So
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I hit Oliver DiMartino this last one at Codename, and it was definitely one of my favorite debate rounds of the year.
Wait, don't expose his case.
No, I won't. But he was pretty original in a lot of his argumentation, and it made sense to myself and the judge, and it ended up being a really close decision. We had like the same speaker points at the end of that tournament. Not the tournament, the end of the round. I think we both had like 29 or something like that. It was really close. Fun round. Scarlett's always great to debate against.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was going to touch on something. I forget what it was.
Fun fact: every Night Talk round 6, I've always hit someone from Scarlet, and it's always been a 2-3 matchup, which means one of us won't break tower. So
oof.
sad.
Well, you can break on a 3-3 in LD, but
Yeah, but 2-4 you can't. So
Right.
like it's a
oh
2.
yeah.
So,
Oh, 2-3. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, in 2018, I hit Oliver DiMartino round 6, 2-3 matchup. I ended up breaking and he didn't, and I was like, oh, that's so rough. It's like that one round and you don't break. Like that one year, Nathaniel Ariave, who was like third in the nation in LD, just one round knocked him off from going to outrounds in LD at Night
Right.
Talk, and he was so bummed. It's rough when you're just one round off. Which is why I appreciate that Night Talk does break 3-3s because so many times there's just an off round for like the best debaters out there,
Right.
and it gives them a chance.
Yeah,
Break.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think going back to the concept of this being not a value debate at all, like it's not like you're right, Logan, it's not really prevalent. A lot of people are just going with quality of life or general welfare.
Everyone should just run the anti-value of poverty.
No. No.
Let's go.
I actually hit somebody who used anti-value of poverty, and I'm sure it would have been a nice debate case. Only my opponent was a novice, and my opponent spent I think 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes going over the case, and then had like 1 minute, 1.5 minutes left to like respond to everything I said in the app case, and so it ended up going over well. So I don't have much experience with.
I hit an AF with the value of poverty mitigation, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. So agreed to it, of course, but yeah, it's not like a bad idea.
What's the weirdest value that you've hit this year?
Yeah. What's the squirreliest case?
Squirreliest case? Dude, I don't even know. I haven't hit the hegemony,
Okay,
so
I got
like
a story. I got
That's the weirdest one I've heard, but I've really hit like normal cases this year. So
I got a story. Okay, so back in preemptive warfare, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but my first LD round of the entire season, Veritas Veterans Day, I ran. Okay, keep in mind I was 14, so I didn't know everything, but I ran the Emu War in Australia on my neg case, and I was saying that the Australian government, they couldn't kill the emus, and they failed to preemptively strike them to keep them from ruining their crops. And so I ran that as an application.
Is that even war?
And I won the round. And then after that, I was talking to the people, and they're like, "Do not run that." Like, do not.
no, buddy.
So I didn't run it after that. So it stayed undefeated for 1-0 for the rest of the year.
That's not even.
Hey,
Not even
yes,
a
sir.
war. It's not resolution.
And then Ethan Blount was like, "Bro, I want to debate you so bad with that resolution." So okay. So here's the deal. So Ben Ariave was talking to me about it because we both debated that year, and he was like, "All right, if you come back and do LD, you have to figure out a way to run the Emu War for this resolution." So I'm in the process of writing an application of the Emu War. Logan, if I hit you ever in this year, I will promise you, if I'm on the right side, I will run the Emu War.
Are you serious right now? All right, hold up.
Write it down, mark
Yeah.
it down.
I'm making a to-do list to brief it, bro.
I will never run that resolution.
Brief Emu War, baby.
Emu War, Shane will run.
Yes, sir.
It's a yikes for me, dog.
It's a New Year's resolution. Let's do it.
Dude, you have to compete this year. You have to.
I will.
You have to, bro.
Ooh, he just promised, boys and girls.
Well,
There you
in
go.
advance, I told Nathan Richardson like last year, if you get a check mark, I'll come back.
Yeah, but it's too late. You
For
just promised
motives.
regardless. So.
Well, in advance, we all know he's gonna get a check because I've been prepping him, so there's no way he's not gonna get a check.
The pride comes before the dub, ladies and gentlemen.
I like that phrase.
Pride comes before the F.
Pride comes before the L. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Year's resolutions. That's a nice
Ooh.
topic. I haven't made any.
I have a new take on that. I think if you tell people your goals, you're less likely to go through with them because you get a false sense of progress and you actually feel like you're doing more than you actually are. When you don't tell anyone but you have like secret goals, then you work on them more because you feel like, okay, I need to get this done. That is if you're internally driven. If you're like driven by other people pushing you on, then it doesn't apply. But
You've spent a lot of time thinking about that, haven't you?
yeah.
Sure.
Anyways, my New Year's resolution. No, I'm kidding.
Go ahead. What's
I
your
don't have any. I don't know. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Logan?
I don't know, man. My New Year's resolution is to never let the Stoa board cancel Night Talk this year, man.
Oh.
Cause like, bro, I still haven't been to a Night Talk. Cause like my first year was my freshman year with the True Seeking Res, and then last year it got canceled. So then this year, bro. So like, if not, then I only get my senior year, bro. You know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Yeah, that's fair.
Night Talk sometimes has weird results, but in the end, it's what matters most. So
My resolution is to qualify. I don't know.
you need one more, bro.
I don't.
One more.
I don't have enough
One
power
more?
in this community to do anything.
You got it, bro. Like with all the online tournaments, like I know they stink, but like if it boils down to it and you need to do a ton of online tournaments, you can get the
Yeah,
check.
I think this is doable for anybody. Honestly, you just have to know what to do.
Yep.
I feel like there's just so much room to do squirrely stuff in an online debate round. It's rough, man.
Like what? Though?
And-
like, give an example. Give
Like
me an
I
example.
don't know, cheating. Somebody like Ethan Blount on the other side of the monitor, like holding up like a whiteboard, like. with all
Bro,
the-
bro, bro. Okay, so like here's the thing. Like I've heard this. I listened.
Ethan Blount, you're a great debater. I would never accuse you. Of
Wait,
cheating.
let Logan speak. Let Logan
Like okay, I watched the podcast, boys. You know I'm a fan, and I heard y'all talking about like people could be cheating on the online tournaments. Like I'm sorry, but Stoa is a very conservative league. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think that kids are gonna be out there like cheating. And to be honest, like what benefit do you get? Like really, like think about like LD for example. Hear me out. Think about LD. you're saying like someone's going to hop online and start doing research. What are they going to find in their 3 minutes of prep time? And what are they going to write down like all of the evidence qualifications if they're asked about it, and or like have the article ready to go? Like you're not going to really be able to do like
Yeah.
anything effectively. So I don't
I think
think.
the only event that would apply to is Parley, because
Yeah.
sometimes
Oh, yeah.
one statistic could change the route, and
That's
it-
true.
I still agree with you though. I don't think that's gonna happen. That people are gonna cheat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me neither. I just think the fact that it's available, whereas in real tournaments it's not.
So you're
Yeah,
just
it's
tempted by
it's-
it.
it's
That's
odd.
what it is. You're
Yeah,
just-
it
okay,
could
I
not
see how
not
it's
me.
made.
It's a fear factor for a lot of people. It's like they don't want to run up against it, and also speech. Like you could have somebody pulling a Joe Biden and having like an auto scroll on the back wall behind the camera.
You can't. How are you gonna get that?
Again, not gonna happen. But the fact that it's there, and I
You just don't like the format. That's what it is.
obviously
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Stoa's fault, and I agree with what you said earlier, Logan. Props to Stoa for doing what they can to make this more accessible, make this year more accessible for people to debate and do speeches in.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's all in the venues, and we've talked about that. But it's a rough situation, So
I don't think my biggest thing about it is the cheating aspect of it, but I think the format. If
Yeah.
I did speech, which I might, just because, if I did speech online, I don't know. I feel like I might bomb it, even though I think it would be beneficial. The presence in the room makes a big difference.
yeah, it's important, right?
Like it.
Because it's kind of like you have that like switch moment where it's like I see the judges, like I'm kind of switching into that mode. And also like this is the big thing for me. This is why I don't like online tournaments is my energy level is so low. And the reason why is because I would say that like I think I can confidently say most people in Stoa are extroverts. Like if you're an introvert in Stoa, you're probably like in the minority because like you think about like all these kids constantly hanging out, giving speeches, all that kind of stuff, which means you get your energy from being with other people.
Sure.
So with an online tournament, you have the same like you have to like have the same like mental. I don't know how to describe it. Like you have like to do
Right.
the same stuff that you would normally do, but then you're not getting that energy from being around other people. And this is like the things I've talked about to people is like they feel way more exhausted during online tournaments, even though they can be at home and take naps in between because
Yeah.
they don't have like that environment. I don't know.
Right.
You're 100% right, and my mom and I were talking about this the other day because when we did the NVDC,
Yep.
I was exhausted. I was
Yes.
Right.
When I'm at Point Loma, the fresh, salty sea
Yeah.
air,
I
oceanic.
know, dude. I'm so mad that
You walk
tournament.
around, bro. You walk around, you enjoy the day, you play foosball, yada yada yada.
Didn't
Exactly.
something happen with Point Loma and like now we're not able to do tournaments there anymore?
Oh, that's called COVID.
Oh.
Bro, I don't know what happened because I kind of heard that like we wouldn't be doing Point Loma ever again, which kind of was like what? I don't know. I hope not, bro. I need redemption. I need redemption, bro. Like, it was supposed to be this year too because Shane wasn't gonna be here.
Rough, man. I actually flew out to Florida, fun fact, and met a guy who goes to Point Loma.
Really?
Oh, nice.
And he was
Nice.
like, "Oh yeah, you do the Stoa tournaments there. That's cool. I know what that is." I go,
Nice.
people know who we are because we take over their campuses and run it over with
Mm.
Christian conservative ideologies. Let's go.
And break their foosball tables.
Yes, sir.
Facts.
Man, watch like Point Loma Beyond next year, and then Shane just come back as a super senior, bro.
No,
Just for one tournament, he
I
comes back.
promise you, I will not super senior. I promise.
Okay, good.
I promise.
What's your opinion on super seniors, Logan?
Okay, like everyone is at different stages of life, okay? And like if you're going to like a community college anyway, and you really like Stoa and you still have friends there, like I can understand it. And I can understand it more so for like seniors this year who don't really get to have like a really great final year. I can understand it more. But also part of me, like this is just my opinion, like get on with your life. Like life is short. Like average life expectancy is what, like 72 years, and like you've had your time in Stoa through high school. Go start a new chapter. That's just my opinion. But
And I think that's a good point. And I think a lot of people that I know in Stoa or like older people, grads, will say like, if you're in it for scholarships, that's good, but outside of that, it's like you're saying, like there's other things to do.
Yeah,
But
and at the same time, you can like work to get those scholarships in your senior year, like your actual senior year.
sure,
So I don't
and
know.
unless you're like really goaded, there's less incentive. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think overall it harms the newer debaters because then there's like the fear of getting ran over by like a train who's on his way to a 6-0 at a tournament and you're just trying to like learn how to do it.
Yeah, especially yeah,
There's
and
always
it's especially true when someone like stinking like wins an event at Night Talk and then they come back as a super senior. It's like go out on a high note. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes
Yeah,
no sense to me. Like I don't know because
yeah,
if you're winning an event at Night Talk, you're already getting a scholarship to somewhere. So
right,
like there's no reason for it. I don't know.
exactly.
right. And I think it's not fair to say that like 1 year makes all that much difference from being a senior in high school. But 1 year definitely makes a difference from like being a freshman in high school or being last year of junior high or whatever.
Yeah,
Which is where the issue I think lies because I would have no problem debating somebody a year older than me, but like let's say I'm debating somebody who's 12, I feel a lot more guilty. And thankfully, I haven't debated like anybody super young this year. Have you debated anybody like really young?
I mean I don't know. I have debated quite a few novices, but not.
Novices, yes, but like 12-year-olds, I haven't. I haven't in the 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. It's mostly
Yeah,
been like sophomore high school, junior year high school.
yeah.
So thankfully,
Stoa's Stoa's just a lot smaller.
Yeah,
yeah,
To be honest. And there's like I feel like the reason there's less novices this year is because there's less new people because it's kind of hard for people to join right now because like Stoa is hard enough to figure out like when you first get into it enough, but with the COVID stuff, I think I don't know, it's a lot.
big
right.
facts.
And not to mention, COVID has put a lot of clubs in a weird spot too. Like I'll say that much. Like our club personally has switched buildings twice, and even now our current building is now having us wear masks inside. A lot of places have different building capacities. Like I
Yep.
don't know what your club situation is over at Control, but I know in general it's a lot harder for clubs, which then makes it harder for new people to join, and it also makes it harder for tournaments to happen. And so
Exactly. Yeah,
clubs.
for our club, we started in person. We had no masks. Everything was fine and dandy. And then our location kind of got shut down. So we've been on Zoom and we're trying to find like a new location. But
Right.
and like that's the thing. Like you can't really like join a club and figure out everything that's going on over
Right.
Zoom. Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
And
me, yeah, and for me, if I came back, I wouldn't be able to join a club just because of school and senior year. I'm trying to find scholarships.
right.
Because I'm not gonna pay for college with my $300 in my savings account. So
I
And I
feel,
think
bro.
and I think another thing we have to consider too is it's not as simple as like a Bible study where you could just meet at someone's house. You have to have rooms to like debate and
well, it
speak in.
depends. Yeah, it depends on how big your club is.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're like a club with like maybe 3 people, you can borrow some bedrooms. But I think I
That's the
think
thing about Control. We have like 30 people in our club, which is a
yeah,
good size. So
You've grown over like how many people did you have last year?
well, we absorbed like everyone from Paradigm because Paradigm like ended.
Oof.
So like everyone came to our like you haven't seen a single person from Paradigm this year. It's because the club no longer exists. So everyone either went to Ex Nihilo or came to Control. So
Yeah,
gotcha. Makes sense.
I get you. I get you. So it's like Epic Squared and Set Apart. Epic Squared is like the bigger was like the bigger. Man, Epic Squared used to have like
Yeah.
30 people back
Yeah.
a few years ago, and Set Apart was the small sister club. But now we're just both small.
Right.
Sad.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
they're not.
Stoa like I feel like Night Talk is going to be really small this year. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't
100%.
know. What does that mean? Like, what is that? What is that gonna mean?
I don't know, but like there hasn't been a big tournament yet. Like
Hmm.
even Griff's tournament, which was relatively big, what we had like 50 LDers, a little less.
Right.
Like there really are no like big tournaments. Oh, speaking of cool tournament update, talk to Griffith Vertigan. He is going to try to put on 2 tournaments this year.
Hey.
One hopefully in San Diego at a church, and then one up in the mountains again. And if he can't get the one in San Diego, he's going to try to do 2 more in the mountains at the same location as Codename, which is pretty
Twin
sweet.
Pines,
Because
right?
I love that location. Like
That's
stay right there on
phenomenal,
campus.
actually.
Arrowhead, right?
Yeah,
Arrowhead
yeah.
is
Yeah.
gorgeous up there. Yeah.
And this is breaking.
Well, like this is what he's told me. Like he's working on to trying to do.
Any
So
time frame?
nothing is official, but like within the next like the first few, try to do it in the first few months of 2021. So
Gotcha.
Let's go.
yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
Okay, all in California. That's really good because
In person is the way.
if the California community is sleeping, the rest of the community is sleeping. I'm sorry, it's just how it
Yep.
is.
And here's the thing, like people to host tournaments, you have to be willing to break the law. That's just kind of how it is. And Griff is willing to break the law. Like that's just how it is, man.
Well, not necessarily law, more like mandates. And then
Yeah,
you
it's
get
true.
and then you get public pushback, and
Yeah.
cities and counties will inflict stuff on cities. Like San Diego's obviously very, very liberal. City.
Watch, YouTube's gonna ban our video now.
Yeah, for real, man.
YouTube's not gonna ban a video.
They're not gonna give you the ads
By the
throughout
way,
it.
sellout time! Everybody, go hit the like. Sellout. Okay, there we go.
Go subscribe.
Smash that notification bell.
We'll do that at the end. We're like 50 minutes in. Yeah. Well, good for Griff, man. He's been doing a lot of work this year for the
dude.
community.
And Codename was a fun tournament. Like that tournament
For
was
sure,
great.
that was my favorite.
I liked
ever.
watching finals on the live stream.
Man, I took a fat L though, bro. Fat L, man.
Bro, I do not blame either of you debaters one bit for being tired at was that midnight?
Bro, the round ended at like 12:30. I did the math.
Talk
I had
about
been up,
losing energy.
bro. I had been up for 23 hours on 4 hours of sleep, and there was a total of 9 rounds that day, bro.
No.
I was dead, brother.
And are we gonna talk about the fact that team policy didn't get out until like 1:20?
Yeah, for real, dude.
Ran there, dude.
It was like 1 a.m., dude. And people stayed up till like 3 that night too. It was crazy, man.
Right.
Talk about memories.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that tournament was a good experience. Like it was fun. I don't know.
Oh sure. Yeah, that was a great that was just advanced NIHD. NIHD is already really fun. Yeah. It was like NIHD but without like so many.
It was like NIHD on steroids, bro.
There was a lot less like staff and moderating what you could and couldn't do. I mean, obviously masks and whatever. And
yeah,
the pool room kept being used for parley, which was awful. But
yeah, like the game room had like multiple rounds going.
Yeah, that's tough.
And like debating in like the little dorm rooms was tough, but other than that, it was good.
Right.
Yeah, I think all in all, that was a fantastic tournament. That was definitely one of the highlights of this year, honestly.
For sure, dude.
I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see topics.
So wait, so like, are you like very anti online tournament, Aiden, or would you be willing to do it?
I think he is more than me.
I will be willing to do it if I need a check mark, but outside of that, there's no point for me to do it. And again, I can't blame Stoa for anything because none of this is their fault. It's all on the venues. And they're doing what they can to help the community. This is better than them doing nothing.
Aiden's not trying to leech points. He's not trying to leech.
Like some people on the leading board. Also, breaking news.
Bruh, I'm not, bruh. I'm doing the January one.
Not you.
Okay.
Okay, breaking news, by the way. You know fake news, Logan, on the Hangouts?
What is that? I don't know
fake
what that
news?
is.
Do you know the fake news account on Hangouts?
No.
You don't? Okay.
I don't really keep track with the Stoa discussion Hangouts.
This little tiny news tabloid thing run by somebody in Stoa we don't know, called Fake News. And they have... You remember the gag a while back? Somebody... I don't remember who. Somebody went onto the SpeechRanks website and uploaded their name as like first in the nation, something like that. Yeah, it was like Big Chungus or something. Anyways, Fake News did the same thing just now. If you go to SpeechRanks right now, you'll see Fake News at the top of the.
Wait, really?
Whoever is doing this has no life.
No, they're not there. I don't see them. Kyle Lee's up at the top of the list. Already been taken down.
Taken down.
Bro,
bro.
Exposed them and then they took it down as we were.
Oof. Hang on, let me check SpeechRanks.
Yeah,
you remember right. No.
Kyle?
Oh yeah, you're right. They were there when we started
Aiden,
recording.
are you okay?
They were there when we started.
You need a little.
You saw it.
For hallucinations, man. I don't know.
What are you drinking in that coffee? Let's see. Okay.
Anyway, so there's obviously an issue with how SpeechRanks handles like verification because some people upload their stuff.
Well, like every time there's been something sus like that, it's been fixed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So it's not like a long-term thing.
That's true, but it takes a while.
It's not a big deal.
That's true. Okay, but the funny thing is that Codename is still messed up. If you go to the debate ranks and you go to because at first they were like missing tons and tons of out rounds. Like people's records were like They had Kyle's record at like 3-2 or something crazy. Like it was really messed up. But then they fixed it. But if you go to like the speaker points, I only got 32, even though there were 48 people, and Kyle only got 16 for second place.
What?
We're getting, and he should get 24 because there were 48 LDers. So we're getting robbed, bro.
You're getting robbed.
That explains why I'm so low too.
We're getting actually robbed, man.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
It's really whack. But again, like they keep fixing it, so I don't know.
Yeah, why can't they just use the Joy of Tournament software so everything's easier?
Yeah, I know, bro.
Yeah. I think Speedrinks is one of those things where it's bizarre because it's not Stoa. Like I wish that like Stoa had more control over the domain, because we would obviously this would be a lot easier.
You're saying
Yeah.
you want Stoa to have more control?
Yes.
Mm.
I'm willing to sacrifice liberty for easiness. No.
You know, I will say this though, that I feel like students need to be more patient this year, because like everyone in the Hangouts like immediately is always like, "Where the heck is speech ranks? It's been 3 days. I want to see my results." And I'm like, dude, you just realized that like you went to a tournament in the middle of COVID. They're dealing with 1,000 things. They're dealing with like facing stinking lawsuits. Like the last thing they care about is showing you your results, which you already know. So like, I don't know. I feel like people need to be more understanding this year that it's going to take a while, because that's like on the very bottom. Like that's like what tournament directors care about the least.
But we also need to be understanding of these people who have no lives and they're stalking speech because they have nothing else to do.
Oh my gosh,
we need to
bro.
understand these people.
Right.
It's toxic.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a weird one. But I think it's fair to say that people have not have a right, but we should be able to understand why they would want to see themselves on a national leaderboard.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying, like, patience with
I get
patience
3
this
days,
year.
but we're talking about like I think it was 14 days at one point for one of these tournaments. I forget.
No, Codename was like a month.
Yeah,
It was like an actual month.
not great. So,
But
and for being such a well put together tournament, it really threw me off, because
well, it did like come together at the last minute too. That's the thing. Like so many tournaments are last minute, like that they don't have it like all set and ready to go. What's funny is like Camelback every single year, like the award ceremony finishes and they like are like up on the stage and they're like pressing upload, and it's beautiful, bro. It's beautiful.
Yeah, like,
it's like you go to the after party and you're already on your phone on Speedrinks, man. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
listen, dude. I'm not a big fan of the way Arizona runs any of their stuff.
Wait,
But
is
Bruh.
Camelback registration already closed? Right?
No, Camelback isn't for a while.
Oh.
Camelback isn't.
Did you already register for Camelback? Or are you
Camel-
going to?
Camelback's in like March.
yeah, it's in a while.
Oh,
It's a long time away.
Hopefully it happens. Arizona's been a lot freer.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like every state besides California is having in-person tournaments,
Yeah.
like all the time. California is really the only state. Like that's why I would encourage people like this year too, because a lot of people's plans got canceled last year. Like if you were scheduled to go to Night Talk, you probably have like flight points and stuff. Go travel to other states. Like go to Texas, do the Escalade, because it's way more fun to compete in other states where it's not as locked down. Like Cactus was one of the best tournaments besides Codename in my opinion, because it was way more laxed. So also tons of people got COVID there, but
Right.
it's true, dude. Like
And then
15
people
different
bounced back
people
like that.
tested positive after that. Exactly, bro. I stinking had it. So yeah,
Right.
baby.
So I'm going through the Stoa bite again, and there's another point down here called avoid speech overtime penalties. It's a little paragraph.
Oh yeah.
How long is the perfect extem speech? 7 minutes and 14 seconds? Question mark?
Yes. Yes.
No! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Listen to this, Logan. Listen to this and tell me it's not toxic.
Oh boy.
The perfect extem speech. The perfect extem speech is 7 minutes.
That's cat, bro. That has to do with content, bro. You can give a perfect extem speech that's 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Looking back, it says the perfect extem speech time is 7 minutes.
No.
But my point still stands. Like, you can't just tell people that their speech isn't perfectly timed, even if it has like the best content in the world and is like 6:38. Like,
Aiden, you're reaching for content right now.
I don't know, bro. I think it's like I get like it's a grace period, but at the same time, if they really think that, then give people a penalty for going over 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like they should, because like the event time is 7 minutes. So if you go over that, you should get a 1 rank penalty.
Bro, when I
I don't
was
know.
when I was 12, I got a check mark in APOL, and my first speech was 6:25, I think, or something, and then round two was 7:38, and I got a check mark.
What?
I
Yeah.
went a minute and 38 seconds over in APOL.
How?
And that's the thing. It should be like for every like 15 seconds you're over, you get knocked down another penalty. Because like there
Yeah.
was someone who gave like a 13-minute 00 round one at Colloquium last year, and they broke to finals.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
straight to finals where there's no semifinal rounds, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, I don't
Right.
know.
I'm okay with the penalty system and the way that it works because if you go over 7, like whether you're not paying attention or something, or like an A-Paul if you go over 6 or whatever, and you go 10 seconds and your timer person has time to push the button, whatever, it's no big deal. And like obviously the judges are going to be a little tilted. That might have been my cat. But obviously the judges are going to be a little tilted or whatever. But the general consensus is you didn't do anything wrong. We had time to push the button. You're good.
Yeah.
In a situation that you go over 15 seconds, then you're like a quarter minute over your time, so you shouldn't really be salty about anything, right? I
That's
think
true. Like I like the grace period and cushion. I guess that makes sense. Like if you weren't paying attention, it gives you time to wrap things up. But
yeah, because if you penalize people at 7 minute on the mark, then it becomes an issue of like, oh well, I finished talking at 7, and then they push the button after 7, and
yeah,
now this is not my fault.
yeah, that happened to my duo partner and I last year. So we're given our duo. It ended, and people just kind of started clapping, and then we went to shake their hands, and the timer was just like still going. And then like he stopped it. It was Mr. I think it was a final duo round at Beacon at the Bay, and Mr. Pachifichi stopped the timer, and he looks at it and he's like, "Ah, oh, sorry guys, we're gonna have to rank you lower." And he's like, "I'm just kidding." Like he was so chill and nice about it because he realized that they had just like forgotten. So most judges, like especially Mr. Pachifichi, super chill judge.
Sure.
I love him.
Props to Mr. Pachivici.
Appeal
I
to
know.
you, man.
Big shout out. Big shout out. But
Mr. Pachivici is the goat.
I got my cat out.
yes,
She got stuck in my closet.
No,
bruh.
if I remember correctly, Mr. Pachivici, I think, judged me in my novice year
Oof.
when I was No, wait. I was 13, so it was my second year, but it was my novice year in debate, and he judged me versus Thomas Pence, both our first years in LD, and we were doing the private property right and public needs resolution.
You got
So
the
I
dub.
think in Stoa, Thomas might be like, he might be
Longest. And
yeah. Well, I would be the longest, but he would be, yeah, like the second longest
Thanks.
in Stoa since like 2016.
Well, actually, that may not be true because I think Danielle's been doing Stoa since she was like 12.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, I only joined. Part of me wishes I joined sooner because I only joined in my
Same.
freshman year. But also part of me thinks that I would have burnt out because like I was speaking of the Pachifichis, I was talking to Caleb, and he was just saying he's kind of done because he's been
Yeah.
doing it for so long. So
Right.
part of me is like it's like a bittersweet. I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you learn what you got to learn, and then if you don't
Mhm.
need it anymore, you dip.
Yeah, because like Shane, that's kind of what happened to you. Because
Yeah.
like you were telling me about how you were just kind of done and like you didn't really
Oh,
want to come back. So
I needed to retire.
yeah.
I was just, yeah, I've been doing it for. And I think it happens to the siblings often, like the younger siblings, more often.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
I was
Oh, sure.
going to all of the tournaments my sister was too when I was 10. so,
Right. That's
which was a
facts.
great experience, and honestly, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because in my case, like I'm the youngest and neither of my siblings did it. So
And we're not talking about like these years where the tournaments are so slow and you have lots of free time in between. Like, I personally knew people at our own club who were like going to tournaments all over the nation, like back to back, week to week. It's like people go places, man. And if you're trying to get like scholarships or whatever, I get it. But
yeah,
at some points, kids get burned out. Oh, this is my cat, by the way. Her name is Malachi, Mally for short.
I'm allergic to cats.
Yes, he is.
same, bro.
She has been in every episode of the Set Apart Meta in that
Oh, wow.
closet sleeping. Only today she decided she wanted to come out and say hi.
Fun fact: I'm allergic to cats, physically and emotionally.
Agreed, bro. I'm sorry. I don't like cats.
I like cats. I think the appeal of cats is that they're a lot easier to take care of.
Are
And
they?
And every few days, like maybe every 3 days, they decide they really like you and they start getting all nice and cozy and cuddly.
Yeah,
And then for the other 2 days,
but
you
dogs,
just forget
bro.
about them.
Dogs love you every day, unconditional.
Facts. Amen, amen, amen.
Yeah, but
Yes,
like
sir.
if I just want to play games all day, like I don't want to have to take
Okay,
my dog
well,
out for a walk.
I love going on a walk with my dog. My dog is gigantic.
My gamer brain can't relate. I'm sorry.
Oh, my word.
I got other issues.
All right. So I want to ask a question to you all.
Gotcha.
If Night Talk goes online, I can't believe I just said that. But
Don't
if it
say that.
happens, if it happens, knock on wood, if it happens, are you competing, Aiden?
Am I competing? If I
Mhm.
check,
If you've qualified for Night Talk and it happens online, will you compete?
I don't want to say no, but I don't want to. I'll say that much.
I want to
That's a
say no
lot
too,
of.
but I don't want to
There's
because I
so
think I
many
probably
high.
would.
There's so much high stakes involved in a tournament like that. And obviously a ton of pressure, right? Like you want to do well. I don't want to do well.
No, I just don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
Oh well, I don't want to either. I don't want.
don't
I don't.
even
I don't want to do it virtually.
I just feel like that would be like the worst week ever.
I don't want it to happen. It's like no, I
Wait,
don't want to do
Tim,
it.
what did you say, Logan?
I feel like that would just be such like a bad week. I don't know, like
Yeah, it
that
would just be
entire.
horrible. No, it'd be absolutely horrible. Because Night
Oh yeah,
Talk,
yeah,
Night
no
Talk,
doubt.
the strat is you gotta have your friends with you there. You gotta be walking around. You gotta be having a good time.
With the boys.
You're not gonna be cooped up in your room doing 4 trillion speeches a day. That
Yeah.
is not Night Talk. That's not Night Talk in my opinion. Like that's just not. It's not.
Yeah, and it's rough. And
So like if you were in like Aiden or R's position, you would say you would not do it, Shane.
No way. I would not do it. Not do it.
granted, I have more to prove than you would have in your last year.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing. Like if I were last year, I might, but I don't know, man.
right.
Is it worth selling my soul? That's the question.
But yeah, the good news is I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm willing to
Tennessee
sacrifice
is
it.
great. Tennessee is a great state. It's not
Yeah.
gonna.
The only reason Tennessee literally closed down like for a short amount of time and then opened right back up after Night Talk would have happened. So and like Union is open, like students are at Union.
Yep.
So we're chilling with that, but
We're chilling.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep it going, Tennessee. Don't be.
I know, for real. Please don't close down. I'm mad though. Concordia is officially canceled for
Yeah.
like their normal tournament, which is a really big bummer.
It's rough, dude. There's just so much, so many of these college campuses, even the Christian campuses, are just like either complying or they're doing it because they think it's best for everyone.
Don't want to get shut down, which is understandable.
Every one of those campuses is not at high risk for anything. Everyone in Stoa is not at high risk for anything. And if you're old and and if you're at high risk, if you're like 50, 60, don't do that. We're going to catch the echo. Are we good? We're good. Okay.
Bro, you just called 50 to 60 old, bro. You just offended a lot of Stoa parents that be watching this podcast, man. I'm just saying, bro. Like, man, bro.
No, did he say that? I don't know.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
Play it back. Play it back, bro. He said 50 to 60, dude.
50, 60. And I mean, Donald Trump kicked it. Mike Pence kicked it.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
fair.
can be like 78 and kick it. But that
That's
doesn't mean you're at a low risk, right? You're still at a high risk.
But just remember, everyone,
But-
Aiden May thinks that 50-year-olds.
Well, I know,
You're
bro.
older than
You better get a
20.
lot of mean ballots, bro. You better hope no judges are watching this right now.
Listen, I'm trying to look out for
No.
Stoa
Man's
parents.
about to get 6 speaker points. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you
Number
can't
one
put
concern.
toothpaste back in a tube. You can't put it
You
back.
can't do it. You can try
All
desperately,
I'm
but it just
saying
makes a bigger mess, bro.
That's right. That's
All
right.
I'm saying is schools shouldn't be closed, and this whole thing is
Yeah.
very silly.
Yo. Real quick fun story. At Codename, for all of our out rounds, for Andrew and I both in Parlay and for myself in LD, quarterfinals was in LD was actually like locked. You didn't get to choose. It was really, really weird.
Rough.
But for all the other out rounds, I took Shane's advice. Tails never fails.
That's right.
Oh
One-
yeah, I remember.
Won every time.
That's right.
Besides, I didn't win the final round because Kyle called it, and I think he called Tails. So he opted out. I know, but Tails never fails. You're right, bro. Like
Tails never.
I have such a better like win rate with coin tosses this year too. Last year I had 8 coin tosses, like 8 out rounds, and I lost every single time, bro. I was 0-8. I was like, how does this even happen, bro?
Yikes, dude.
Bro, thank you for taking that mantle of the tails never fails.
That's not how
Mm.
statistics works, but
It
okay.
is, bro. It is. It's science, man. Like it's actual science.
All right. But if you go to a tournament, you have like 4 out rounds and you get tails 4 times in a row. That's not that hard.
You want to hear
do.
some statistics? I've been negative in out rounds the past 10 out rounds in LD because I choose it every time.
Really?
I've chosen. Let's see. Let me go back. Okay. What was the last out round I did? Well, including NVDC, I was neg against Anthony Fitzgerald. I was neg against Dylan Jacobs. Then back to Concordia didn't have lower bracket, did it? No, I didn't break. Concordia, what's before Concordia? ICC?
I think so.
ICC, I lost to Caleb Pachipachi. I was neg. Point Loma, obviously against Logan, and then against Ben Speaks. And then before
Were you
that,
neg for semifinals against Ben too?
yeah,
Yeah,
neg.
I was neg against Micah, but
Exactly. Neg is OP. And then what was the year before that? Year before that, oh yeah. The year before that was Concordia 2019. I lost to Ariana Zabo. I was neg in out rounds, and then
dang, dude, that goes way back.
yeah. And then let's see, ICC I lost to Noah Matthews. I was neg. That was Truth Seeking and Privacy. Point Loma, Bethany Kowalik, I was neg, and Anthony Fitzgerald, I was neg. So that's already, what is that? Already 9. Okay, so then, before then, I was neg against Anna Joseph at Night Talk 2018 when I got knocked
Bro,
out.
how do you remember all this, dude? I can't even remember like who I hit the last tournament.
Shane's got some.
That's 10 in a row. 10 in a row.
Shane's got some grudge issues, man.
Yeah, for real, brother.
No, 11 in a row because I beat Ethan Kong, and Night Talk 2018 in the lower bracket, and I was neg with preemptive warfare. So that's 11 in a row. 11 negs in a row in LD.
Yeah, I would say like Andrew and I won our coin toss all 3 out rounds at Codename, and we opted op every single time. But then at for finals against Kyle, I was gonna opt neg, but he won and then he opted AF, so I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah. And then wait, one more thing. So 12 out rounds ago, the last time I was AF in out rounds was against Micah Waddell. And I was AF with preemptive warfare.
I don't even know who that is, man.
So it's like, I don't know what it is statistically, Aiden. Statistically, how do I get neg 11 times in a row?
Did you choose tails every single one of those times?
Yeah.
Yes. Like I think so. Sometimes I don't call the coin flip, because sometimes the other person calls it. But
Yeah.
Whenever I do, I go tails.
So here's my question for you, Logan. Speaking of heads, tails, negative and affirmative, which side do you think has it easier with the judges, and which side do you think is like better to debate like outside of judge bias? Because those might be different, but maybe they're the same for you.
I don't know. I would say in the start of the year neg, but it's starting to switch. I feel like AFs are starting to win more, and it usually does. So, like, for example, during Truth Seeking year, in the beginning of the year, almost all the AFs were winning, and then it started to switch. Neg started winning more, and then neg won Night Talk. What I feel like is going to happen this year, negs were winning in the beginning of the year. It's starting to switch to AF a little bit, and AF will probably win Night Talk. The unpopular side at the beginning of the year usually becomes the meta side because people have to think outside of the box and they have to be really, really creative. The problem with neg this year is every neg case is the same. I haven't really heard any good unique neg arguments. I've heard the 2 similar cases, and one is just more well constructed and the logic flows a lot better, but ultimately they're the same arguments and the same ideas. So I like AF more. Like, here's the thing, I'm undefeated on AF still. The rounds I've lost have been neg rounds, which is kind of surprising because I like my neg case more, and I agree with the side of the resolution on neg,
But
And I feel like the judge biases for neg as well, but I'm starting to see AFs win more and more and more. So I'm
you
not
do
sure.
better on AF. I noticed because Codename released the ballot, the not the ballots, but the results. You had 30 speaks on all of your AF rounds.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, you had 30 speaks on both AFs, and then the negs that you won because you went 4-0, so there's two each. And then your neg ones you had 27 and 29.
9, I think. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, huh. His neg is good, but you got 30 speaks on both
Well,
apps.
my neg is very like long. Like my first contention has 3 subpoints, and one of the subpoints alone has like 3 different impacts. So like I kind of yeah, it's a lot to get through. So I
Right.
find myself
Yeah.
talking really fast. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
do you think that affirmative is in a similar spot where they have a lot of the same argumentations? They're just better, or would
Not
you say there's a lot more
necessarily because
variety?
like there's really 2 strats. There's like the one af well like there's the one abstract that tries to like beat neg at its own game and run quality of life and talk about how recessions harm quality of life, and then there's people who kind of like run outside of the box talking
True.
about like human rights and how stability creates like regulation in our economy that protects human rights. I'm not going
Right.
to disclose which one is mine, but I do
Yeah.
strongly prefer one over the other.
Yeah.
So
I think.
yeah, because like then you can actually make an argument that has to do with morality that people care about. I'm not even trying to hide it, bro. Like everyone knows at this point, it doesn't matter, bro. So yeah, so like I feel like there's really only 2 ways to go with AF. Like I feel like you're kind of put in a box. I don't know.
Yeah. I would side with that. I think that it's generally a better strat for affirmative to come up with stuff, or for negative rather, to come up with stuff that goes directly against whatever popular whatever popular, what's it called? I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on.
Meta.
No, never mind. I'm not. Yeah, whatever popular. What are they called? It's been so long since I've heard
Frameworks.
of it. No, it's an
Values.
example. It's a application, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, application. I don't know why it took me so long to get that. I think it's better for negatives to try to come up with a popular application that's being run by the affirmative side and research it and pre-flip it like before you go into the round. So just in case they do run that, you get that argument over them instantly, and then that just shaves off time because now they can't talk about it anymore because you flipped it, or it becomes a counter argument rather than being two different ones, or they don't have it and you just have a strong argument.
Yeah,
I think that's a if you can get a hold of those, I think those are good strats
Mm.
because
yeah,
they save time and they convince the judge if you flesh them out before you go into a round entry. Because I notice a
yeah.
lot of affirmatives using very similar applications all the time this year. There's one in particular. Uh, I was gonna say I don't want to mention it, but I don't even remember what it was. Where
I
they're
like
using,
the IMF is really popular. I think people run that a lot. I don't know if
yeah,
that's
there's
something you're
stuff like
thinking of,
that,
but
and there's stuff like I don't know, stabilization policies in different countries that are better or
hmm
worse. And if you can just flip those and say that, or no, rather, the affirmative will try to say that this negative policy harmed more people, and then you come back and say that wasn't a negative policy, that was an affirmative policy. I've done that a couple of times with I think two different applications that come up a lot, and there's an example of an argumentation that you can win better. So I think
yeah,
that's one way that I think that's one way that negatives could do better, because in general, coming up with new creative arguments for negative isn't as strong as having a good rebuttal.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
feel, and I feel the big problem with this res is that it's too objective. That's what I hate about it most. Is like there's really no room for debate because like when you're on AF, you cannot deny the fact that like growth leads to poverty reduction, and that poverty reduction helps save human life. Like that's an undeniable fact. No one can even
right,
contest that. So your only options are talking about preventing recession, or sure you may be getting out of poverty, but you're hurting people like other human beings or human rights. That's it. Like that's all you can say. So that's the problem with this res is that it's too objective and there's too many undeniable facts you can bring up, which leaves no room for debate.
right.
True.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
True.
I feel like you need a more subjective resolution to actually be able to have a debate. I don't know because I feel like the resolution is pretty objectively false in my opinion. Like I don't know,
Well,
but
there are pros and cons because when it's too subjective, I feel like it's definition debates are just the
yeah,
worst.
it's true.
Oh yeah,
But if it is undebatable, then it's not a debate. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's an interesting way that you just put it, Logan. I've never thought of it that way, where the case is kind of bottlenecked to a point where some people might like it, like myself. But there's other times where it's like, okay, but more debate can't be had because too many things are agreeable. Whereas if there's room to debate on things, then everybody learns more in the end,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you have more room to convince the judge on different things. Rounds get more interesting, whereas this round might be boring to somebody who's doing it over and over again and understands their case and the resolution inside
Yeah.
and out. And there's only so many things that you can debate on,
Yeah.
and you have to win this one thing to win, otherwise
That's
it falls
why
out.
you should run the value of hegemony, because it's
Yeah.
gonna be a unique.
But like, you know how like you've had like, I'm sure you've experienced this, Shane. I'm guess maybe you have, Aiden, where you hit the same person on the same side in the same year, right? Okay, and you have like the exact same debate round. That's
Yeah.
like how it is every single round this year.
Really?
It's like hitting the same person on the same
Oof.
side at the same tournament. It's just over and over and
Oof.
over. And this is why I'm getting
Right.
bored, bro. It's like,
See, I didn't
I
know
don't
that.
know.
I didn't know that.
At least that's how it feels for me. Aiden, can you relate to that, or do you disagree?
No, I've hit Danielle like every tournament except for this last one, and every time we've been different sides.
Bro.
Other than NIHD, but NIHD was camp cases, so it didn't.
I've only been to 3 tournaments that had LD, yet I've still hit Danielle 4 times. 4 times, brother. What is this, bro? Tab just sees us and they're like, boom, make him debate.
I know.
It's good though.
I see
We
that
have
all the
like the
time.
most legendary rounds. Not gonna lie, they're pretty. They're spice, bro.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Well, your speaking styles are different enough to be interesting, I think, which definitely leads to fire debate rounds.
Yeah, no, they're super fun rounds.
Yeah, and
She doesn't do virtual tournaments, or she hasn't. I wonder if she's
well,
gonna do.
not many people who've done IRL.
Yeah, not many people have.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I don't need. The only reason I'm gonna do the one in January is for parlay because I need to qualify with a partner. So.
Right. And I've been talking about this on the show for a while, where it's like we have people, all the people at IRL tournaments generally don't do the virtual ones, and so now we have like these people on top of the leaderboards who are doing only virtuals, and they've only done 2 tournaments because there only have been 2 tournaments.
We have a lot more out of staters.
Yeah, and what I don't like about online tournaments is it's basically just night talk. It's literally just night talk because there's people from the entire country, and that's why they're so huge.
Yeah.
It's like mini night talks, like 4 of them. I don't know.
So
Right.
Logan, you're gonna do virtual green. Should I hop on?
Well, I don't think I'm gonna do LD because like I was like I can't. I'm not doing parlay with Andrew Wagner because he already has a partner for the season. We're just doing it for fun and Codename. And then Elliot isn't even going to a lot of the tournaments, and he's not willing to do online, which means I can't qualify with him. So I'm probably going to be doing parlay with Ryan Olson, which will be fun this year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like we haven't even done it, so like I kind of just want to get at least one check,
Right.
to have that in case we don't check at all the in-person tournaments we go to. So.
Right. Yeah, it's better safe than sorry, honestly.
Yeah, and I might do like a speech too, because I've only gone to like one tournament that offered extemp and one tournament that offered persuasive, and I'm trying to do an OO as well. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And again, people are like, well, I don't want to commit to doing an online tournament because there might be an in real person one, and then I have to like debate there, even though I've already checked.
And then it gets
like,
canceled.
Exactly.
But you can't bank on that happening. So a lot of people are doing these virtuals just to be safe, and they're bringing their A game because they want to get that check.
Or if you just competition.
Well, I'm doing it for qualification purposes because a lot of people are like, well, I want the points, like I'm missing out on all these points. And I'm like, I don't really have fun at online tournaments, and I'm not going to do something I'm not enjoying just to get points. Like, I'll do something I'm not enjoying to qualify so I can go enjoy doing it in person at Night Talk. But, like, if you're doing it for points, then you're not doing it for the right reason, to be honest.
Right. Well,
I agree.
I'll say this as a gamer.
As a gamer.
Nobody has fun over Wi-Fi, ever.
Bro, as a gamer, he says.
There's no fun to be had.
As an epic gamer myself, I strongly recommend.
As a gamer myself, I agree that 20 frames per second gameplay is the best. No, I'm kidding. And I haven't heard of any virtual tournaments having like weird internet problems. So I guess.
Yeah. Well, NVDC, like you and Dylan and Shane, had to redo their entire round.
Yeah, I heard that.
I had Wi-Fi problems.
I mean the Stoa sanctioned one. Stoa should buy their own servers at this point and just host their own. Just host their own stuff with their own.
To be honest,
software.
That's fair.
That'd be interesting. Although I'm sure that'd be fairly time consuming. So interesting stuff overall. And I wanted to bring this up earlier, and I kept putting it in the back of my head. I hit the anti-value of anti-monopolies on negative.
Monopoly?
Yes, anti-monopolies.
Like the man with the monocle?
Yeah.
Bruh.
So what's your opinion on anti-values, Logan? Do you think they're too confusing?
They're just stupid, dude. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Instead of running an anti-value of poverty, run a value of poverty mitigation. Like, there's no reason you need to sound complicated and cool. They're just stupid, bro. And name me one Night Talk champion in LD who runs an anti-value. You can't, because the
Yeah,
people who make it
Bro,
to Night Talk outrounds don't run out anti-values, bro. They're
what about the
garbage.
anti-value of poverty reduction?
So increasing poverty, yeah, exactly. They just don't make sense, and it's just overly complicated. Like this is what Luke Argy used to say this. Any like anti-value you can find like a word or a value for that's just a
Yeah.
normal value. You know what I'm
Okay, but
saying?
here's some big brain strats right here.
Oh no.
Eugene Kong, when we did Parley at Night Talk 2019, we
Right.
broke to out rounds, but we hit round 4. We hit the 4th in the nation team in Parley, Farquhar Roberts, I think at the time, and they were TPers, and we got the LD res that had to do with college, like general education or something, and so we were like, okay, big brain strat, let's run an anti-value so they have no idea what they're doing. So we ran the
Right.
anti-value of student loan debt. And we won because we had an LD judge. And so we won because we beat TPers with an anti-value.
Bro, smart.
I
But
had
Parley is like wild and crazy, so I feel like you can do things like that in Parley. But like for normal LD rounds,
I had never hit an anti-value up until like recently, like this last tournament. So I was like,
it's just
what's an
weird, man.
anti-value? And the person I hit was a novice, brand new. So I'm like, okay, just gonna dismiss it. We're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna get them to agree. So I was running quality of life. My opponent was novice, running anti-value of poverty. All I did in cross-X was ask, would you agree with me that generally people want to stay away from poverty because they would like to improve their quality of living? Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
So
And then
my
it's like, well, that's what he's really valuing, so we agree.
my opponent agreed to quality of life, and we just kept going. I was like, that's confusing.
That's how it is, man.
Wait, what'd you say?
I just said that's how it is, man. To be honest, like most negatives just should agree to the value this year.
Yeah, but if you're writing like a camp case or a prep case for like a novice, don't give them an anti-value. Like that's
I know. Yeah, it's not helpful and it's unnecessary. Because
yeah,
again, like anti-value of poverty, just run poverty mitigation. Just run a normal
that's
value.
not how the majority of Stoa works. And when you give somebody like that a case like that, like I get it if you want to try to be quirky and original, but
What about
Also confuses the judge. Like,
yeah, for sure, which is one of the big issues.
how
right?
about you run the anti-value of poverty with a criterion of
no, don't run criterions. Please
the
don't.
criterion of standard of living.
What the what?
You don't achieve the anti-value of poverty
Oh.
through the criterion.
See, I'm not even following this. You're judges. And just saying, man. Nah, no. Criterias are pretty dumb. I ran one last year and I really regret it. They're pretty stupid. Just run the value.
Oh, I like it. I
agree.
like it when people run criterions on AF because that's when I like to bring out my. I like to poke holes in it like I did against you.
It's always
Yeah.
time.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't know. I don't like criteria that much. I don't think framework should exist more than necessary. Like if you're using framework to like obviously bias the debate to your side, like what are you doing?
Well,
I disagree, kind of slightly.
you have to frame it to your benefit, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't frame them out of the round. You don't define them out of the round.
Exactly.
But you frame it.
I think that you need to present framework like preventing like good framework is like a minefield. Like it looks totally fine, and your opponent isn't realizing that by agreeing to that, they're gonna like blow themselves up later in the round. Like that's what good framework is. So it shouldn't be abusive, but at the same time, if you're bringing up a piece of framework that you're not sure how you would use strategically to win the round, then it's pointless.
Right.
That's fair.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just think in general it's nice when people don't run excessive criterions, but
yeah, it's true.
Thankfully, definitions have been super easy. Outside of stability sometimes, but I think it's getting better.
Yeah. I think I've disagreed with like one person once because they like operationally defined it, and I was like, no, not in a year about economics.
No.
Maybe like in a year about culture because no one knows what the heck that is, but not this year.
Yeah.
No.
Well, if it makes sense to everybody, then go with it. But otherwise,
Yeah, it's true.
it's a waste of time. And especially if there's better definitions out there that people are using already,
Yeah, exactly.
then just present. So here's what I do with definition debates. I just present my definition, and my opponent will present their definition. And here's my thing, and you can tell me if you think this is the same thing, Logan. But I think judges generally decide what definition they're going to use the second the negative says it, and they'd be like, "Oh, that guy's right. Why isn't that guy using his definition? Because his definition makes more sense." And so it becomes an issue of, okay, am I going to try to convince the judge my definition's right? Because he's probably made up his mind. He probably knows which one makes most sense. So unless you want to explain another point, I'll just stand up and say, Judge, the definitions have been presented. I would rather not waste time trying to convince you my definition is right because it's likely that you've made up your mind on which one is more
Well,
more feasible. So I'm just going to drop it and I'm going to leave it up to your interpretation. I've done that twice, and both judges really enjoyed the way that I handled it. So
that's fine.
I think that's a great way to.
I would say it depends on the situation. Like,
Yeah.
I always respond. Most people, when they provide a counter definition, don't provide a reason to prefer. So I just stand up and say, look, they're providing a counter definition with no reason to prefer their counter definition. So the one that was presented first is the one that stands, and then I just move on. If they do present a reason to prefer, then I like have a tagline response to the reason to prefer, talking about why it's not good. So I continue to carry that through. But that's just my opinion. Most times people, especially like in Parley, what I've noticed is people like present counter definitions or counter framework with no reason to prefer it. I'm just like, well, we have no reason to like buy this. So like, unless it's like given a reason, it's just an assertion that has no impact. So
Right.
it depends.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. All right, well, that about wraps up our time here. It's about an hour and a half of
yes, sir.
Great conversation.
Juicy content, bro.
So
take the juice.
We got to get up and get out of here in a little bit, but thank you very much, Logan, for coming on. We really appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Is there anything that you want to plug before we head out?
Plug. No, just subscribe, turn on those post notifications, smash the like button. You know how it is.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, be sure to smash like.
Consider donating money.
We don't have a donate tab.
Consider.
Shane has this thing about asking for money every podcast.
Yeah, bro.
Go
support me on Patreon, bro.
Yeah, your boy needs a Patreon.
And if you want to stay up to date with the podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. We'll do uploads as often as we can. Things have been pretty sleepy for Stoa, so we'll keep trying to get people on. We'll keep trying to get people. Maybe not as goated as Logan, but
Thanks, bro. We got to do like a juicy podcast after Night Talk, bro. Like a 3 hour long podcast, bro.
Dude. I'm down.
Stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. Happy New Year. Happy Christmas.
Adios.
Happy whatever happened. We will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Peace out.